Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to retort to the common fallen away Catholic and Christian statement, the church left me. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti, Amen. Gloria Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancto, secutora in principio et nunc et semper et secula seculorum. Amen. Now, you've heard this statement many times from people. The church left me. I didn't leave the church. Right? How many times have you heard that from fallen away people? Probably a lot, because we all know fallen away Catholics and fallen away Christians in general. And, how do you decipher that? If we had to get like a Rosetta Stone, how do you decipher that statement? Really, we know what the truth is. The church didn't leave you. You left the church. The church's teachings, either on social teachings or on doctrinal issues, haven't changed. They haven't changed. What's changed? Society has changed. Even if you compare us, 2021 America to like 1940, it's dramatically different, but certainly comparing it to 1740. If you were in 1740, let's say Italy, just to give a Catholic example to juxtapose. We were in a Catholic milieu. The idea of illegitimate children and the idea of open support of sodomous acts, like these things that would never have been tolerated, and there were checks on that. There were checks on that. Divorce, for example. There were checks on these things, and it was good for society to have those checks, because what's good for society, what's good for the family is good for society, and vice versa. Now we live in a world that has left morality. We live in a postmodernist, moral relativistic world where there's no absolute truths. I don't need to spend a lot of time on this. All you guys know this. And unfortunately, this has infected the church. Best that Saint Pius X tried to get all the priests to swear against modernism over 100 years ago. Didn't work, and unfortunately it's infected the church. But for these people, and they'll give examples like, I left the church because the church wouldn't let me remarry. Well, bro, you know what? We can't contradict the words of Christ. And Christ is very clear in Matthew, and I think it's Matthew and Luke, those who remarry are committing adultery. Now, we have annulments and all that, but if you leave the church and you marry civilly to another woman and you only civilly divorce the other woman, you're committing adultery. Don't get mad at the messenger. Don't get mad at me. It's Christ. We can't contradict the words of Christ. The church can't. Sorry. We can't. What else? I want to get married at a barn. Right? I want to get married at the lake. No, to get married in the church, you need a priest, and it's got to be in a church. Shut up. This is what I want. Okay. How about you look into the wisdom of the church to say why it's got to be in a church and why it's got to be by a priest. Right? Why don't you get deep into the magisterial teachings as to why we believe these things? A worse one would be like, oh, the church hates gays. No. If you read, Romans 1, there's at least 5-6 places in the epistles where it lists things that can lead you to damnation. Fornication is one. Now, Romans 1 is very clear about how women will turn and have affections toward women, men will, and so forth. And I think 1 Peter has another one of those. But in general, I'm not supposed to fornicate. It's clear. If you're not married, regardless if you're a homosexual or heterosexual or, cis, trans, whatever, we're not supposed to fornicate. So when they say, oh, you should support this homosexual relationship, well, you know what? If you're dealing with homosexual feelings and not committing the act, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're openly committing homosexual acts, that is a grave sin, because if I'm doing those same acts with a woman, that is a grave sin, because Christ says it and St. Paul says it in the epistles over and over. Fornication is wrong. Right? So what I would try to tell you, we could spend a lot of time on abortion, right? You don't the church doesn't love women. Yeah, the church loves women. That's why you don't want to get, we don't want you to have post-abortive syndrome. And yeah, we really love those fetuses, those future children. Reagan had that great line. It's funny how all pro-choice people had pro-life parents. But look, in closing, you've adopted to the world. This is what you tell these people. The church didn't leave them. The church's teachings are timeless. You adopted You adapt it to the world that we're in. And we know we have to be in this world, but not of this world. And these people, unfortunately, have been sucked in, and we've all been sucked in and contaminated, vitiated by the secular world that we live in, unfortunately. But that's our job. We have to exercise this out and try to pursue godliness. And lastly, I just want to give you 2 scriptural references really fast. 1 John 2:15. He talks about those who love this world hate God. Those who love this world hate God. 1 John 2:15. And then 2 James 4:4. Actually, let me read 1 John 2:15. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in him. For that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. And it's essentially the same thing that James says, James adjusts in 2 James 4:4. Those who love this world hate God. So I don't know about you. I don't want to hate God. So I don't want to love the things of this world, right? These ephemeral things, these temptations, these snares of the devil, as we say. So no, we didn't leave you. You left the church, and with charity and compassion, do your best to bring these people back and help them understand why the church teaches these things and encourage them. Look at these things up. Try to understand where the church is coming from. They're not there to squash your fun party. They're there because normally what the church supports, whether it be in the Beatitudes or 10 Commandments or that, thou shalt commit adultery, all these things, it's because these things hurt you personally and they hurt your relationship with Christ. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Hit the share, like, and subscribe button. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.